All right, David. So last week we, talked about why certain companies need a specialized packaging department and why
Right.
it's important. Can you just summarize that up before we move on to your next guidebook?
Yeah, sure. The need for a specialized packaging department, this is geared towards packaging resellers that really don't understand or don't have the staff that know there's a lot more to packaging than just brown boxes and bubble wrap. So having a specialized packaging department could be a game changer for them to be able to boost their margins, get into new business segments or verticals they've never thought of. This isn't rocket science, but usually specialized packaging is not something a lot of the traditional packaging resellers know much about. So having a specialized department or partnering with somebody that can actually help them instantly have that department really is kind of the essence of why I put together that ebook and that book in general, is to kind of encourage packaging resellers that there's margin there, there's opportunity there. Your reps are already in place. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to buy capital equipment or whatever it is. And at a time in this economy that we're dealing with right now, Kiana, where companies are really struggling, especially packaging companies are really struggling to meet quota, to make margin, to kind of build their business, having a specialized packaging department could make a huge difference. So that was the real goal of getting that book out there and promoting it, is to encourage resellers or those that are in charge of the resellers to really sort of take a look and understand. Because a lot of times, and again, specialized packaging is one of those things that it's such a broad stroke, and the people, what do you mean by specialized packaging? And it really, it's problem solving packaging. The one thing to wrap up this segment, if you will, which is really important, specialized packaging is anything that, to you, something may be specialized, but to Sally next door, she knows all about it. Point is specialized packaging is problem solving packaging, something that really solves a pain point for a customer in their packaging space. So it's just being able to have those intelligent conversations with your customers to be able to kind of get into new business segments. So that we call it specialized packaging, and it's a very broad stroke, but it's really anything that solves pain point.
And that kind of just coincides with how, these reps, right? And they, like you said, they don't need to, purchase any more equipment. All it is just being educated and staying on top of it. So
Correct.
you created these guidebooks, which the next one that we're going to talk about is Packaging Reseller Guidebook. And that is essential, obviously, and that coincides with why certain companies need these specialized packaging departments. So let's talk about the guidebook. For one, you're very passionate about packaging, and you see that there's opportunity with these packaging products. So what is this guidebook?
Well, what I did was I tried to take the last book, the specialized packaging, and I really kind of tried to break it down into its own booklet. So, for example, to be able to look at what industries specialized packaging works with, and of course, even case studies with companies that need specialized packaging, then what types of specialized packaging are out there. It is the meat and potatoes, not a broad stroke on the industry, but it's really sort of a going into detail. For example, one of the buzzwords that's out there, and you and I connected on this a long time ago, on the sustainability, the eco-friendly, the biodegradable. Those buzzwords mean a lot of different things to different people. And to be able to break down, what does biodegradable packaging mean? What is sustainable packaging? What is eco-friendly? What do the terms even mean? Those are the kind of things that are in the book. Then to be able to go into, different segments about different types of packaging. For example, stand-up pouches, those pouches that are used a lot for packaging coffee and tea and granola. And that's a unique slice of the industry itself, because, and what makes it specialized is the custom printing part of it, where a lot of companies that have, and I don't care who you are, whether you are a mom and pop farmer's market kind of selling kettle corn, or you are a coffee and tea company that wants to get your product on the store shelves at Walmart, you need packaging that grabs the consumer's attention. You also need packaging that explains why your product is so great, why your product is, better tasting or long lasting or whatever. And that all happens in the printed side of things. So this is just an example of another type of specialized packaging in the printing world. And there's a whole different, a lot of people are very intimidated with printing, very intimidated with how you get started, don't understand it. Now, and printing can be done several different ways. Now we have digital printing, which eliminates the need for printing cylinders or printing plates. And that's a whole nother animal that has its own sort of. So what I tried to do in this guidebook, if you will, is really give them the chapters and the bullet points to kind of be able to speak intelligently, at least have a conversation with somebody to see if, in fact, they have an opportunity. For example, this is all written towards a packaging reseller mainly. And I want them to be able to have a conversation with their customer or potential customer and at least sound like they know what they're talking about. Here's the questions to ask. Here's the information we need to know. And a lot of times reps get so confused on or tongue-tied thinking they have to understand the 35 years like I do. And it's not the case. What they need to be able to do is just ask the right questions. Just ask questions and listen. Why are you looking for this product? What problems are you having that you're looking for these stand-up pouches? Or did something happen that you now, like for example, you in Hawaii, where you have these directives that are government influence saying you've got to be out of this type of material by X? Well, that's also a directive, and a lot of people don't know where to start, and they, what does that mean? So I tried to basically put together that sort of a guidebook, talking points to try to make it simplified so people can have a conversation. And frankly, the other thing too that I try to share is a lot of my personality in the guidebook, because I've done this for a really long time. And it doesn't mean I'm an expert, but what I do know is, well, thank you. What I do know is the ability to kind of get past the BS, get past the nonsense. There's again, if you're a packaging reseller, just like any other sales rep, you have a limited amount of time to be able to kind of really vet somebody to see, is this a real project or is this somebody that's just, asking for some sort of a price because their boss said so? What I'm getting at is part of this is me sharing my 35 plus years in the industry saying, here are the questions to ask to pre-qualify a potential customer. And you have to also have to listen. That's another skill that a lot of packaging resellers are not very good at. They're in such a hurry to pretend they know what they're talking about that they don't even listen to what the customer's saying. If for example, if you and I connected and you happen to be a coffee roaster and you and I are talking about, you want to get into a custom printed pouch to sell your Kona coffee. My question would be, more on, well, what are you currently using now? And why are you looking? And what can you show me? Show me is an important thing too, because we live in the digital age with our phones, Kiana. Can you take a picture and show me what you're looking for? And when we do that, oftentimes what happens is the terminology that somebody is using, the terminology that they've got or what they think is a stand-up pouch is a different style or a different material or not the same. And all I'm getting at is it's about asking questions and listening to the information, listening to the feedback that you get, and then be able to take that information and be able to craft whatever it is that we need to kind of craft to give that customer options. Does that make sense?
Yes, no. And in order to execute what they want, because I feel like, if I, like you mentioned, if I were to be a Kona Coffee
Yep.
business owner and I have all these rules and legislations that I have to follow within my certain
Right.
state, I have no idea. I'm not educated in packaging at all. So it's so nice to be able to talk to someone and explain that. And you folks have all the answers for, specialized packaging reps.
We've gotten very, very lazy over the last 20 some years in the packaging
Mhm.
space, in my opinion. A lot of times reps are looking for the easy sale, the simple sales, and it's not that simple. And all
Mhm.
too often, and what really bothers me is a lot of packaging resellers accept mediocrity and just sort of like, well, if you get an order, you get an order. With the economy as it is right now, Kiana, companies are letting these sales reps go. If you're not bringing in money, if you're not bringing in business, if you're not bringing in new
Yeah.
business, if you're not growing your margins and growing your business, you're done. Over the
Right.
last 15, 20 years, these guys and gals had a company car and a decent salary or whatever. But now, post COVID, a lot of that's changed. A lot of
Oh yeah, you
companies
don't see that
are,
anymore.
you
Right.
have to be specialized. You have to be able to be unique. You have to be able
Mhm.
to partner with your clients and bring them something of value so they want to stay with you. You've got to be
Mhm.
irreplaceable in some way, shape, or form. And in the packaging side of things, especially in packaging, specialized packaging, that really should set us up well, because the more specialized that I can sell to you at Kona Coffee, that makes you look good, that gets you on the store shelf at, say, Target or your local retailer. Maybe you ran into a problem where this is all part of answering or listening to questions or asking questions and listening. A lot of times people will share with you, well, I'm looking because the last company I worked with let me down. Or the
Mhm.
last time I worked with a company, the stuff I got was really substandard. It wasn't good quality. Well,
Mhm.
now, you have just set the table for me to not only know that, okay, Kiana, if I'm able to sell you this specialized packaging, and it's something that makes you happy and you're happy with it and it arrives on time and you're able to kind of pick up that new distributor, if you will, or get on the store shelf. Now we have a
Mhm.
relationship. Now we have the beginnings of a partnership, because what I want to be able to do more than ever is to be able to sell you other things. And I want you
Mhm.
to feel comfortable that, yeah, he's going to come through. And that's
Mhm.
the whole premise of this guidebook, is to be able to slow down. Let's work on getting a victory under our belt that's not necessarily
Yes.
run to sell Kiana 15 different things. Let's sell her one thing and let's do a really, really good job. Now,
Mhm.
build the business, of course, but the reason why I share that whole story was over the last 15, 20 years, packaging resellers and packaging salespeople have lost their way. They really have just, they're in a hurry. They don't have all the details. They don't ask any questions, and then they basically revert back to what they've always done, which is price. I can be cheaper.
Mhm.
I can be cheaper. You know what? I don't think you really care if I'm cheaper and my stuff doesn't show up on time. Part of this guidebook is my personality, my stories, my information about different types of packaging, different types of industries. One of the things that I actually like to share is retail packaging is easy for people to understand. We all are consumers. We all go to the store and we buy our groceries, whatever. But there's a lot of packaging that's not for food, that's in the industrial space, that's in the chemical space, or automotive space. And there's a ton of money. There's a ton of opportunity. Hospitals use very high end, high temperature resistant materials so they can kill the germs and chemicals and whatever it is from a surgery. That's very high-end specialized packaging, but I guarantee you very few sales reps understand what you even call that. Or let's take it even a step further. There's a ton of companies that are in the metal business, okay? Forget the medical, but metal, brass, bronze, chrome, whatever it may be, okay? And if you don't coat that when it ships, if you don't coat that with something like a wrap or some sort of a barrier, then that can actually develop rust. And, you know, the last thing you want to do is get a bar of brass and it have so that too is what's known as a VCI material. It's a vapor corrosive inhibitor, which is another type of packaging that's out there that, again, there's money, there's margin, it's unique. There's lots of things you can do with it, but very few people understand it. So all of this is to be able to kind of share my stories, share some case studies, share some wins, share some losses. I think it's important for people to understand there's a lot of losses. That's how we learn. And all too often in this space, everybody, you know what? I have learned that the only way is to fail. The only way to kind of grow beyond is to really get our nose bloodied, skin our knees, so to speak, fall down and get back up, fall down. And I just have learned over the years that not everybody is going to be my friend. Not everybody is going to tell me the truth. Not everybody is going to want to share their real pain point about this. And part of this whole guidebook is also giving permission for us to walk away. For example, and that's a hard one for people to get, especially when business is slow and we're starving for an order and we think we're going to lose our job. But being desperate doesn't do us any good either. And if the deal isn't a good deal for us, and for me to take an order that I know is not going to make money and that I potentially can cost a relationship with you long term, I'd rather walk away than a lot of times people will come in, can you get it to me next week? Can you get it to me next week? Here's the money. Here's the money. You know what? As much as I'd love to take your money, next week you're going to be calling saying, where's my product? And I will have let you down. So part of this guidebook is stories, is information, but also permission for sales reps, packaging resellers to understand that not everything's a good deal. Not every opportunity is a good opportunity. Being able and willing to walk away. I hope you like this content. If you want more of it, I put together a specialized packaging alliance, a group of packaging professionals, if you will, that are in different facets of this industry. We talk strategy, sales, and marketing. I'll also be answering your questions. If you want to join, click the link below. Thanks. There was a book that I read, and it was written, it said something like, always have a buyer mentality. For example, if you go and try to buy a new car, and if you're the buyer and you walk in the lot, you see a car, and this guy wants $10,000, and all you have is $2,500. You have to be able to walk away and say, I can't. But so many people can't walk away. When you have a buyer mentality, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. It doesn't work for me. I've got $2,500 and you want $10,000. Even if you drop it to $9,500, I can't do it. So having that buyer mentality is a position of strength, is a position to say, no, it doesn't work for me. But all too often we get caught up in trying to sell something so bad, and we're so desperate, and that comes across too. Buyers, people, customers, potential customers, they know that. They know when you're desperate. They know when you're vulnerable. They know when you're calling 14 times. Did I get an order? Did I get an order? And that's just no, we can't. And if there's anything I want to try to do over the next 3 to 5 years is really, I'm passionate about the industry, but I'm also really passionate about the people in the industry. I see a lot of people that are just, becoming lesser versions of themselves and becoming desperate and just doing things that just really, it's sad. I don't want,
Yes.
I would rather just, no, we don't need every order. And yes, I make a nice living and we built a very nice company and there's lots of opportunities to grow, but I want to do it by building partnerships. For example, I work with a company right now, and here's one for you just to consider. Very specialized type of material, biodegradable for their particular product. Okay, it's a filter of some sort, and this is a very unique type of bio paper. Okay, not film, bio paper. To find out that they went around me and contacted my supplier directly. Okay, so again, these are the kind of things that I have to really look at and go, I don't even have an order yet, but this guy has gone around me to try to find who my supplier is, which, by the way, contacted me and said, this guy, what I'm getting at is, do I really want to partner with this guy? No.
Yeah.
And by the way, do I really want to be a part of, so it's all about, and it's just, it's sad that people have to live like that. And it's also sad that people believe that that is good business, because it's not. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot more to packaging than just the packaging. You got to inspect it. You got to ship it. You got to get it delivered. It's got to arrive on time. It's got to make sure that it does everything you want. And by the way, what if there's a problem? And oftentimes companies don't think of that. They may have saved 5 cents by cutting out somebody that's a white glove service kind of thing, but they don't understand that we also have a relationship with the factory that guarantees everything for the life of the product, So when you have a problem 6 years from now and say something happened or whatever it is, we stand behind it. And those are the kind of things that are really, you can't put a price tag on, Kiana. That's all part of this guidebook, is just a very broad stroke of the industry, why it makes it such a good opportunity. I see a lot of young salespeople with such a huge opportunity here to build their own business, to build their own career, to really strike out at a time when the industry needs them. And while packaging may not be very sexy, so to speak, it is needed. It's not going away, especially how, the world is operating right now in the whole eco-friendly, sustainable world. I just think somebody is going to crush it if they really, really dedicated themselves to just being different. Doing what they say. I mean, what a concept. Let me do what I said I was going to do. Let me return a phone call. Let me get back to you and say, you know what, Kiana, we're not a fit, but call my buddy Sam. Here's his number. This is what he does. Now, what better way to be able to make a relationship with you by being able to say, it's not a fit, but you know what? You don't need me. Let me connect you with somebody. And so few people do that because they operate out of fear. Everybody's afraid, Kiana. Oh, I can't give that up. And wait a minute, what if he goes someplace else and I got to get that order? I would rather do that and make it worth your while, because you're going to remember that and you're going to come back. So it's just, and that to me is like I said, it's my sort of take on the industry, where the opportunities lie, kind of a general form on different styles and materials and different things that are out there. And I just think it's the time is right for somebody like me to just say enough is enough. I've just seen us become very commoditized, for lack of a better way to put it. And I just I just love to share my knowledge. Now, if anybody does anything with it, it's on them, but at least it's out there. Does that make sense?
But at least there's a guidebook for it. And to go off of that and to conclude everything about this guidebook, I mean, I just want to pick it up and read it myself. But we were just speaking earlier about how important it is, to build those relationships and network and keep those relationships. And I feel like that's what a lot of people are missing. And if that is in the guidebook, and that's something you can't really teach someone, it kind of has to come from within. And I think that's something that you see in a lot of younger reps and a lot of people and just dealing with people in general, because at the end of the day, it's all about that one-on-one relationship, building that trust and the community. So
I think
in order
the
to be
young
successful,
people,
the basics.
100%. But I also think the young people, as much as they get a bad rap because people are, well, they all live on their phones. I really believe the young people have the opportunity to change this world. I really believe, because they follow their own way. And I love that, because that's what we need more than ever, are people that are willing to go, nah, it doesn't make sense. I'm going to help that person. Or no, I'm not, it's not a fit for me, but let me connect you with a friend that is. And that's where I think this industry has gotten off course. And I really look to and encourage the young people as much as you can to kind of be your own person. Follow your gut. This is common sense stuff, Kiana. This is doing, it's that old, do unto others as you want done to yourself, and just help people and be kind. I mean, if there's anything the world needs, for Pete's sake, is people being kind with each other. You know what I mean? And I just know the message is clear. I know the message will resonate with the right people that take it for what it is. This isn't me saying I'm better than you, or you saying you're better than me. This is just saying, I've done this for a long time, and I think there's a lot of opportunity if somebody would frankly pay attention, and they could really go far. So that was the whole spiel.
Awesome. But where can people find this guidebook? Is it online?
Well, it's online. It's going to be soon to be on our website. So yeah, and we'll be linking to it. So I just wanted to kind of get this out. So thank you. It's a good question. And I want to just give it away. I want to just share this. And my goal with this is not to sell a book, but to really get it in the hands of companies that could give it or share it with their reps and understand that there's a lot more than they understand. The one thing that you'll learn as you get older, Kiana, that you just want to look, you have a skill set. I have a skill set. There's things that we've gotten good at and learned. And frankly, I just want to share it. And what I could just see some little girl coming up to you saying, I want to be able to do what you do. And you'd bend over backwards to help her. You'd bend over backwards to kind of teach and guide it. That's really where I'm at here, and I'm grateful that you took the time to kind of hear me go off on my tangent. But I love this stuff. I totally love it.
Well, I love it too. And I appreciate you for sharing this information with me, because I just love learning about what other people do. It coincides with what I'm passionate about. And I think this guidebook will really help a lot of people. And I think that's what you want to do at the end of the day.
That's what I want to do. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. It's David Marinac. I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you want to see more, here's another video that you can check out, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Thanks.